Angatau leaks out. Curtis throws back. Here's Edwards. Edwards with a big block. Colin Edwards. Edwards with a big play across the 50, inside the 30. One man to try to outrun. Leaps through the diving tackle and Colin Edwards. A 79-yard touchdown reception. And there is that 3-possession lead.
Deseret News Rewind is presented by Heidemann & Associates. Call them now for a free consultation, 801-754-4240, or go to utah.law. Welcome in Deseret News Rewind. Dusty Litster and Dane Stewart is always brought to you by the Utah Army National Guard, but presented by Heidemann & Associates.
That's right, Dusty. Full-service law firm, locations throughout the state of Utah. Give them a call, 801-754-4240. Heidemann Associates is going to take care of you. I know I'm going to give them a call here shortly. That's going to happen because I got questions, and hey, if I'm willing to trust them, you should too. Or you can learn more at utah.law.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into this. Last week, well, first of all, the opening argument, or opening statement, I should say, because I don't think we're arguing too much about this, is remember the video we released last week, Lone Peak decision coming down, that they would lose all those wins, their RPI number was hurt, they dropped to number 20 in the 6A RPI, but Dane, how much did that really change the landscape, not just 6A, but 5A?
Yeah, I think it was pretty significant when you look at it. And I mean, we can start in 6A, Dusty. You know, my personal belief, and I'm working on figuring this out, right? Still working on carrying the 6 and a couple different formulas at home. But I really think if Lone Peak doesn't forfeit those wins, you probably see AF maybe with a first round bye. Instead, they don't. They're on the outside. I think they're the highest seeded. No. Their number East is ahead of them.
Yeah.
You might see AF though skip East and maybe even skip Kearns to get a first round bye in 6A. In 5A, you know, one of the interesting things is what we talked about as the season went on with the RPI is it felt like you were being credited most for wins, right? Well, you look at a particular 5A team that had a really good year this year but lost to Lone Peak. Well, now they're credited with a win. And I know that Lone Peak's winning percentage is just 0.1, but that's a big win now for Farmington. And you look at how that places them in 5A, and you know they're number 3 seed ahead of Olympus, ahead of Brighton, and so and I think they're a top 5 team.
Right.
I don't know if I think Farmington is number 3. You know, they had some interesting games late, got pushed in some games late, lost surprising games late, but you know now all of a sudden you've got an upper classification win against Lone Peak. I think that helps them out and change their seating in my opinion in 5A.
Well, I think it's interesting too because when you look at what happened to AF and these other schools, it does change it. I think that was the biggest cry out after, at least that we received, was, hey, this doesn't just affect Lone Peak, in which we totally understood, and I think we explained in the video that as with the whole thing, there was a chain reaction to the decision. In the very end, the Activity Association, the way they wrote it, they acted it exactly how it was written out.
Well, and you want to talk about implications in the 6A state tournament, how about Riverton? And we knew there was going to be a team, and it doesn't matter how you deal with this. There's a team that's going to be like, what? Huh? And it just happens to be it's going to be the Riverton Silverwolves that are the first fallout from this. And I mean, good luck. You know, a team that has had a really good year in Region 3 and surprised me. I didn't think they'd win that many games or as many as they did. And they've been great this year. But then, hey, the winner of that has to take on Skyward. So now you got the Skyward Falcons like, wait, we got to potentially play Lone Peak in the second round. And so obviously 6A implications, but I mean, you're right. It's one of those where I don't know what the right solution is. I think the UHSAA dealt with it the best they could, given the way that their procedures are structured, and now we're on to the state tournament.
It would have been interesting to see the before and the after, the way they all went, to see, because you look at on the quadrants of those teams replaying each other. I think someone hit me up that, hey, Corner Canyon will not play someone they have not played yet.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting, and I think on the opposite end of the bracket, it's kind of that same thing.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting where we go. All right, well, let's get into this. I mean, first week of the state tournament, this week yet, teams on buys and everything else. Let's look at the most compelling games. First of all, starting in 6A.
How about near the top of the bracket, Davis and Westlake, right? I mean, this is a Davis team that had a really good year up in Region 1, or Westlake, kind of a down year, tough in the region that they play in.
But down the stretch, they played very good.
They did, yeah. They were competitive in a lot of those games late in the year. You wonder if that builds any momentum for the Thunder in this matchup against the Darts. Have to travel up. Matchup never been played before between Davis and Westlake. Going to be a fun first-time match in the first round. How about an interesting one in the southern end of the valley? West Jordan and Jordan squaring off in an interesting matchup. And you look at West Jordan, new head coach there, and you know, down in that Region 2, they've won 2 straight games coming into these state playoffs. Jordan, a team that I thought we were going to see a little more wins from them this year. Tough year. They had a really tough schedule, one of the toughest in the classification. Tough year for the Digs.
Yeah.
Could the Digs really have a first-round playoff loss? I mean, it would be interesting to see. But West Jordan and Jordan, that's an interesting matchup.
Interesting, too. And I know I won't take this one from another 2 versus 1, Region 2 versus Region 1 matchup. But we talked about this one before just a moment ago. Riverton and Lone Peak, not to belabor the point.
Yeah.
But it is Riverton off of 2 tough losses. I mean, the tough loss against East, 14-0. Last week, we're in that game against Harriman till the very end.
Yep. Got
pulled away from. Can they muster up enough offense to get at Lone Peak? That's the biggest question to me. Can they get there? Because right now, the Lone Peak offense, until you see Trajan Hansen, until you see Sean Wood, don't know what Romney and crew is going to look like as far as being explosive with the points. Because even against PG, it was a workmanlike getting to 20 points and seeing that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Riverton is going to be, can you score enough points, right? I mean, we saw a game against East late in the year where, hey, their defense played pretty well, right? I mean, they were in that ball game, but they couldn't score against that East defense. And if you're Riverton, hey, you got to be aware of where Nate Ritchie is at all times.
Right.
All times, right? You got to have a very alert key on Mr. Nate Ritchie, Mr. Do-It-All for the Lone Peak Knights. When you're able to take him out of the equation, you might be able to do some things against this Lone Peak defense. Now, they're very stout. They still have Fotu. They still have really good corners, great front on the defensive line. But, if you can avoid turning the ball over, this has not been a Lone Peak offense of old where they're dropping 30, 40, 50 points. So if you can keep this a 1-2 possession ball game, you never know if that Riverton defense can make a big play late.
Remember, another name we got to continue to make sure we mention is Barry. Barry's had his bunch of pick sixes this year too, in that backfield. All right, I know you want to get this one, West and Fremont.
Boy, I think this is a really interesting battle, Dusty. I mean, you look at this West team, and first year for Coach Solovey, they've got some experience. Well, they've got some experience there, but some players that have really burst on the scenes this year. Clarence Butler, Bird, they call him, athletic. Abraham Williams had a really fantastic year at quarterback. This Fremont team, very pass-heavy. Stratford's had a fantastic year this year. If they can limit the turnovers, you got to think Fremont got to feel pretty comfortable, but you cannot overlook these West Panthers, Dusty. They've been in some ball games late. I know everyone's going to say it's Region 2. What does that mean? It's all about confidence, and there's not a guy, well, there is, but he's got to be a top 5 in terms of motivation when you talk about Junior Solo V. This West team going to be ready. They're back in the playoffs. They're really interesting first-round matchup.
It doesn't matter or not if you're going to give up 300 yards to beat Stratford. I think that's...
How about Fremont? They're 3-0 when Stratford does not throw a pick.
Interesting.
Defense,
that's a good one.
Yeah, that's going to be key. The turnover battle might signal who wins this ball game.
All right, well, let's go to 5A because that 6A bracket will be very interesting. One of the ones that comes right off the top to me in this 5A bracket, Maple Mountain and Bountiful.
Really interesting, isn't it? Jared McCann, a young man we probably haven't talked about as much as we should, largely because it's hard to see stats from Bountiful. Don't always get reported, but you look at this running attack from Bountiful. They had Farmington on the ropes,
Yes,
Dusty.
they did.
That defense played really well. They were able to move the football well against a really stout Farmington defense. Watch out, but then you have Maple Mountain. They're in that ball game, week 10 until late when that one gets a little one-sided. This is a really interesting first-round matchup, as you had mentioned.
I'm very, very curious. Here's an interesting one, especially because we've covered the state for so long. How about Murray Skyline? And Murray is the higher seed.
Yeah.
Murray, the 13 seed, Skyline number 20.
How about 2 passing offenses here, right? I mean, this is kind of crazy. And, you look at Murray, and I don't know what's going on. I haven't had a chance to talk to that staff. Would love to talk to you, by the way. Follow me on Twitter. Happy to do so. But you look at Jarrett Hendrickson. He was really the guy, leading this offense this year. They were scoring a ton of points. And region matchup, Murray won that ball game 24-17. Well, Hendrickson hasn't played the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure if there's an injury there or what's going on there. That might be a real big factor in this ball game. Skyline, obviously, with the return match or the second match of the year playing at Murray. But you look at Bolingbroke and the year he has had, boy, he has really started to sling it well the last couple of weeks. Skyline Murray, that might be the game to watch in the first round of 5A.
And one more, Alta versus Box Elder. This is the 15-18 matchup. Alta played a really tough schedule. Box Elder, and tell you what, I watch them almost every week. All they do is play close ball games.
They're in every ball game.
They muck it up and get after it.
This Alta team, look, their offense has the ability to really move the football, and we saw them come from behind in game of the week against Lehigh earlier this year. Cinco Lucero, watch out, young man takes care of the football. He just doesn't do too much with it, plays within the offense, does a really nice job. Going to be real interesting to see if Alta's healthy. They've had some injuries on the offensive side. That could certainly impact this ball game. To your point, Box Elder's in a lot of these ball games, and can they muster up enough offense to outscore the Alta Hawks? Going to be an interesting one. How about this one? Team that we talked a little bit about the early part of the year. How about Bonneville with a home game in the playoffs? They get the Dons at home, and another interesting matchup with a couple quarterbacks. Bonneville has a really good running attack with Cord Shaw. This is going to be a fun first-round matchup as well between a couple teams that were in 4A last year, now stepping up into 5A.
How about you look into 4A? There's schools, there's things all over the place in this one. You're looking at 8 seeds not playing that first game.
Yeah.
Desert Hills gets Snow Canyon already in the second round. Park City waits on the winner of Logan and Ogden. But an interesting one to me in this in this matchup, when you're looking for a Bear River, Ben Lomond, these two know each other.
Yeah, this is a former region rivalry. It will be a fun one, but I mean, I don't know that I see this real competitive. Ben Lomond, tough year this year, right? Got to win late in the year, I believe, and it's going to be tough for the old Scots to try to find a way to upset the Bears. That Bear River team, they've shown they can hang in with a lot of teams. They had a lead at Morgan early in the year. In region play, things got a little mucky for the Bears, but yeah, that's familiar territory, if nothing else.
And not everyone got in 3A. Be very, very interesting. Remember, Lower Sanpete comes in the 1 seed. They've never won a football championship.
Yeah.
They are the number 1 seed over Juab, who beat them head to head.
Yep.
So some storylines and of what that's going to look like in this one. But I mean, really, when you look at this bracket, I mean, this first round is kind of the scary part. How about San Juan, Richfield? Probably the closest one. Broncos can score some points. Richfield has an opportunity there.
Yeah.
I don't know that we see a lot of really close games in this first round.
Yeah, the other game that I think will be close is going to be Juab and Juan Diego. Just because, Delta and Juan Diego.
Oh, there you go.
The Wabbits, as Dusty likes to say. How about Juan Diego almost had to go on the road in the first round of the playoffs? But you look at both these two teams coming in sub 500, down year for Juan Diego. Could we really see the Soaring Eagle with a first round upset?
Right.
Gosh, that'd be crazy, wouldn't it? But you're right. The top of this bracket really interesting with North Summit, with Juab, as well as with
North Sanpete.
I was thinking Manti.
Oh, Manti. Yeah, the Templars.
Yeah.
Well, you look out Morgan and Grantsville.
Right.
This tournament in general, that semifinal could be outstanding.
Yeah, how about the bottom end of that bracket? You get Grantsville, San Juan, or Richfield in the second round, and then they'd have to go through Juab. Yeah, this is actually a really fun bracket.
Right, that semifinal will be really, really good.
Yeah.
In 2A, this is the world that Beaver lives in and everyone else is just enjoying it. But one of the fun games that I think in this first round will be Kanab versus Monticello.
Yeah.
Two powers from normal 1A that know each other really, really well.
Yeah, that will be a really fun one. And I mean, you look at Monticello, the last couple of years they've had, the Buckaroos been really, really good. Had a couple disappointing outings this year, but you look at, the ability of these two matchups. You talk about Kanab and that running attack, had some injuries early in the year, but boy, they've shown they can move the football and they get that ground game going. Watch out. Going to be a fun one in the first round. I'm still going to contend, Dusty, this is not just Beaver's classification, okay? There are other teams in it.
I agree.
All I'm wondering is, how come we don't have Carbon in the state playoffs? Why don't we slot them down in the 2A state tournament or even bump them up to 4A, huh? Come on, Dinos.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just heartbroken. In an age where everyone's in.
Yeah.
Not my Dinos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Win some, yeah. All right. I have nothing to say. It hurts. It hurts, but yeah. Just so you know, we'll be picking champions. I don't know how to get out of that. We'll be picking champions next week as we have the 5A, 6A games out of the buys. Yep. We'll be picking champions in every one of them, and then you can yell at us through that too. So hit us up. Well, who do you think wins this game? What are the most compelling games to you? Hit us up at Dane News Rewind, at Dane_Stewart, at Dusty Litster. All right. Closing argument brought to you by Heidemann & Associates. And again, if you have any legal need at all, get wills and trust set up, anything else like that, hit them up. Utah.law. Justin Heidemann will help you out. Closing one, let's pick regular season Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
No MVP?
Okay.
That's fine. It changes my offensive, defensive MVP.
MVP, offensive, and defensive.
All right. Am I going first?
Yep.
Are we doing by classification or throughout the state?
No, this is top
throughout
overall,
the state.
Yep.
All right. So my overall MVP, Dusty's Nate Ritchie. I mean, I think the year he has and the way he has contributed to Lone Peak, it's hard to find someone who's been a larger contributor single-handedly than Nate Ritchie on both sides of the football. Offensive MVP, to me, it's a two-man show. And I know some of you might roll your eyes at this. I'm going to go between Bryson Barnes and Cole Hagan. I think those have been the two most outstanding offensive players this year. Their teams are not the same without them. I don't know who is the biggest contributor. I think Corner Kane has other guys that can contribute in a larger order than Milford, but it's hard to say a guy who's 2,700-0 as a starter in high school, and Cole Hagan, that he's not the offensive MVP. Defensive, I'm taking this over. I should let you weigh in.
No, I get my say. So
all right, defensive MVP. I wasn't really prepared for this, so I'm going to let you say, and then I'll think on defense.
All right, so my MVP through the regular season. This we'll put out our vote. You guys will be able to have our award show. I think overall, simply records and what he did, Bryson Barnes, he racked up
Look
so
at
much.
you! He's coming around, folks.
You know, that's why I was willing to go MV offense. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
Coming around.
Bryson,
I'm not a.
he is a friend.
You act like I got coal for a heart or something because I ain't from coal country. But no, I mean, you look at what he accomplished.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Milford doesn't do what they do without him. So
I hadn't had a 10-game winning season before Bryson Barnes.
Okay, so then I'll go offensive player of the year. It's Cole Hagen. I mean, I wanted to go Cade Ballery. I was trying to find some way to work Cade Ballery in there because I think he's been that impactful for Juab. But no, it's Cole Hagen. What he's been able to accomplish this year has been spectacular. And of course, the wins. Defensive player of the year. Man, I know I'm going to miss someone. And this is normally I just slide in Nate Ritchie. But I mean, there's a linebacking duo, and I'm going to do this because they were that dominant this year at Corner Canyon between Josh Wilson and McDougal. What they did at linebacker is pick sixes and turning games around and absolutely opening them up. I go duel there between Wilson and McDougal.
And that's fair. I mean, it's so hard when you look at that Corner Canyon defense because you got multiple guys on multiple levels that contribute in meaningful ways.
Because you go Van Fillinger and you look at the back end.
I mean, there's a lot of kids, and so it's hard for me to call one of them out to say that is my defensive MVP. All right, Dusty, look, I've thought about it. I'm still I'm not coming around. I think I got it, right? But I might miss a couple kids, so take it easy on me, huh? How about a team that flew under the radar in Region 4? Spencer Tautioli for Pleasant Grove.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you like that one? One of the leading tacklers in the state this year. And could have gone with Connors as well. They've got a PG. We talked about Corner Canyon has guys at different layers. PG does as well. Tautioli's been really, really good for PG in that defense, which I think has surprised some teams this year in Region 4.
Very, very interesting. Hit us up. Who would you have regular season? And we'll have our awards coming out that'll encapsulate everything.
Yep.
Your MVP, your offensive player of the year, and your defensive player of the year, because we're sure we missed some guys.
That's right, yep.
And always, and opinions means this is working. So hit us up on Twitter at D News Rewind, at Dane_Stewart, at Dusty Litster. First week of the playoffs is here. It's gotten cold.
Yep.
Go enjoy the games. For Vince and Dane, I'm Dusty. Thanks for joining us watching Deseret News Rewind on Deseret.com.